Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we were, still able to do this. So anyway, yes, I definitely wanted to play Ambush with lyrics, and wow, man, this album is. I mean, I remember when it came out a number of years ago, but with so many other, new wave of British heavy metal bands putting out new albums and stuff like that, I don't think I gave it the time that it deserved. And so now with the remaster and going back and revisited it, this is a really good album. Um, I just
Thank you. Yeah.
I think everything about it is so evocative of the early '80s style that you guys created with the new wave of British heavy metal. How did you guys find? And I hope I pronounced his name right, Jacopo Maielli. How did you find him?
Uh, yeah, we call him Jack.
Okay, Jack.
Yeah, Jacopo Miele.
Okay, Jacopo Miele.
He's from Florence. Jacopo Miele. Yeah, he's from Florence.
Okay, Italy.
But yeah, in Italy, going back to, sorry, yeah, of course, there's Florence in the States as well, isn't there?
Yeah, well, everywhere.
So back 2004, we found ourselves without a singer. So rather than just keep it sort of localized to the UK shows, we thought, let's throw it open internationally and see what happens. And an agent from Italy contacted our management at the time with this young lad called Jacopo. He'd recorded an album with a band called Mantra, which are an Italian band. They sent us the CD to have a listen to, which we loved. So we flew him over to Newcastle, where we all come from, and we set a rehearsal up, and they invited him into that. The first song that he sung was "Take It" from Spellbound, and I remember after about 40 seconds, I put my hand up, stopped the rehearsal. Jack had his back to us, so he turned around with this awful expression on his face, thinking, "Oh my God, have I messed up?" And I looked at the other boys, and I took one step forward and put my hand out to shake his hand and said, "If you'd like the job, you've got it." Yeah. So it didn't take very long. We knew tremendous range. He'd done his homework and learnt the song properly, or songs, because we went on to jam several other songs. The session lasted about 25 minutes, and then we all went to the bar.
Yako is definitely. You call him Jack? You call him Jack?
Jack.
Okay.
Jack, yes.
Jacopo, aka Jack, has done just a phenomenal job of just, bringing back that John Deverell sound with a hint of Jess Cox. It's interesting you mentioned "Take It," because that's actually the first song I heard when I was just a teenager on Metal Shop. And then I went to, I think it was either Kmart or Sears, and I saw this compilation called British Steel.
All right, yes.
And I saw Jess Cox, and I'm like, wait a minute, I think he's in Tygers of Pantang from Wildcat. And then I started looking at some of the other bands on there. Even Alaska was on there, and I ended up grabbing it. Not to be confused with British Steel by Judas Priest, but it was just a great way to at Kmart or Sears, one of these places to find just a great new wave of British heavy metal bands. Because back growing up in California in the early '80s, if it wasn't for Metal Shop and independent radio and stuff, you just didn't hear these kind of bands. And yeah, Take It was and I didn't even know it was Tygers of Pantang. I'm just as ignorant when I bought Creator, Out of the Dark and Into the Light, and they did Gangland. I'm like, this doesn't sound like an Iron Maiden song, because once again, I hadn't heard Gangland, the original, and I felt bad that I hadn't heard their Raven cover either. So you kind of dive into it. Have you heard Heathens? Right. Have you heard Heathens' cover of Hellbound?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job. That's one of my favorite Tygers of Pantang songs of all time. So many bands are celebrating their 40th anniversary. I guess Wildcat's coming up on its 40th anniversary as well.
It's passed. Yes, it passed a couple of months ago. So Wildcat is 40 years old.
Are you guys planning to do? I mean, Ozzy just did a special edition of Blizzard, and Motorhead's doing a ridiculous 5-disc version of Ace of Spades, and all these bands are doing their 40th. Iron Maiden's doing something for their debut. Are you guys going to do something for Wildcat, a deluxe version, or?
No, I don't think so. We have recorded the Wildcat sessions,
right?
The Spellbound sessions, and the Crazy Night sessions, which were available on 5 or 6 track EP, like like a mini CD.
Right.
And I'm hoping next year we'll get to do The Cage,
Okay.
which will finish off the first 4 early albums.
Okay.
And it's just picking our favourite tracks and using 40 years worth more of technology to modernise them a little bit and give them a bit more edge.
Right. Yeah, but are those available? Because I've looked for those and those the re-recordings with Jack, and they're hard to find.
The sessions are very hard to find. Yes, they will be. And we're working with our record company at the moment to get those so people can buy them again, because they were a limited run, and of course they sold out pretty quickly. And the record companies that issued them are no longer with us. So we're busy talking to Target Records, who are our current record company and who are tremendous, with a view to them releasing them all again, so people can buy these things.
Yeah, because I even was it a Back from Beyond EP you did as well, where you guys re-recorded some stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been looking for all that stuff, even on iTunes. It's like I can't find it. It's like, darn, I want to hear these re-recordings. Speaking of re-recordings, though, on the Japanese pressing of Ambush, you guys did do "Don't Touch Me" there, re-recorded with a different kind of vibe to it.
It's a live, a slightly different live version. Which was recorded when Dean was in the band, who of course was the other guitar player on Ambush.
Right.
And those live recordings were taken from a show in France, a festival we did in France in 2012. Completely untouched as they are. That's how the band sounds. No overdubs. Warts and all. But they sounded pretty good to me, which is why they're on the CD.
Yeah. Actually, I stand corrected. It's the Japanese version of the latest album, The Ritual, where you did a re-recording of "Don't Touch Me" there. But yeah, you did the live track stuff.
Right.
You did "Keep Me Alive" and "These Eyes" live with Dean Robertson still on guitar on Ambush. Why did you guys remaster Ambush after such a short time?
Because Ambush became unavailable to buy because it was out of license from the record company that originally released it. Okay. So we took the license and gave it to Target, and Target were more than happy to to have copies printed up. But we said, hey, instead of just printing a few copies up, why don't we do something special with it? Because we had an extra track which we found, Cruel Hands at Time.
Yeah, Cruel Hands at Time is awesome. Yes, definitely.
And we've all talked about that just recently, and none of us can remember why it never made the cut for the final album.
Yeah, that is a rocking song.
Yeah, just one of those things. So we said, listen, if we're going to put extra tracks on it, then why don't we just send it to Medley Studio, which Soren Anderson owns with a couple of partners who Soren has mixed our last 2 studio albums. And it went to Soren's partner, Henrik West, who's a specialist in remastering and making things sound bigger and bringing stuff almost in 3D. So bringing stuff out that maybe it hasn't been heard before of the original music. And Henrik's done an amazing job and made it sound absolutely awesome. And I think if Chris Tangarides was still with us, right. God rest his soul, I think he'd be sending all his stuff to Hendrik to master.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a solid album. It's probably your best since Crazy Nights, in my opinion. Will the packaging be really cool with lyrics and liner notes and everything like that on the CD?
Yes, absolutely. It's rather than a CD in a jewel case, we've gone for one of these. I don't know what you call them. They have a name, and it's just escaped me. But Pardon?
A digipack or?
Yeah, that's the very one, digipack. So you have the classic Rodney Matthews artwork on the front.
Right.
You open it up, and inside it's not a booklet. It's a fold out.
Okay.
And on one side it has all the original cartoons that Craig, our drummer, drew for each track. And on the other side, it has lyrics for "Cruel Hands of Time,"
cool.
And it has a piece by the members of the band that recorded Ambush. It has a recollection piece of what we remembered at the time of recording and stuff like that. So and when you take the CD out, behind the CD is the other choice we had for the cover of Ambush.
Okay.
Rodney did two drawings originally. The front cover, which became the front cover, and the one in the CD tray, which was the other choice.
Wow, the original artwork, cool.
But when we chose, he then took the design further and painted it. From the pencil sketch. So there's some, and there's a limited number of Ambush CDs which Rodney has very kindly signed for us as well.
Oh wow! Will those be available from the band only and not from like other distribution or?
No, I think that they. No, let me have a think about this. Yes, they're available from the band. Yes, right. They're not available from the record company. Yes, so we have those.
Will there be lyrics for the other songs from the original songs, like "Keeping Me Alive" and "Play to Win" and "Burn to Desire" as well, or just the lyrics for "Cool Hands of Time"?
Just no, but because we elected to put the cartoon artwork where you would have had lyrics, because I think the lyrics for those songs, if I'm not mistaken, are in the original.
Right.
Are on the original one.
And available online, so not a big deal, right?
Yeah, oh yes, they are. Yes.
So when you guys did "Hey Susie," was that a sequel to "Susie Smiled"? I mean, what made you revisit that song?
It was, yeah. When I wrote that, when I wrote "Hey Susie" and presented the idea to the band, I said to Jack and Craig, who write between them, they write the lyrics and the melodies for all the songs. I said that the thing that I've got in my head is a kind of a Susie, has grown up, sort of thing. If you can get your head around that and write lyrics around that, and I think it was Jack that wrote the lyrics for it, and came up with it. And it says exactly that in the lyric. "Hey Susie, is it something like you're all grown up now?"
Right.
Yeah, and I put the talk box on it, and it came out really, really well. I love that song.
Right. Well, Steve Harris did the same thing with Charlotte the Harlot. He ended up giving us a trilogy, all the way back from, the early days to, 20 Acacia Avenue to Hooks and You. Let me ask you this. What was it like working with John Sykes, especially during the Crazy Nights stuff? Because a lot of people don't even realize John Sykes was in the band before Whitesnake.
Absolutely. John, we'd recorded Wildcat, and our manager and agent thought live it would be a good idea if I was joined by another guitar player to give us a bigger, fuller sound, because the bands in 80 that we were touring with were all two guitar player bands, like Def Leppard, like Iron Maiden, like Whitesnake, and the Scorpions and Saxon and all the bands that we opened up for and played with.
Absolutely.
So we advertised, and two guitar players out of about 80 of them stood head and shoulders above everybody else. And one was John Sykes, and one was Steve Mann. And Steve Mann is of Michael Schenker fame at the moment. He's playing with him.
Yep.
He became quite a successful producer in Germany. And John got the vote. John joined. John and I got on like a house on fire. When we toured around the world, John and I shared we roomed together, in hotels, and we were the bad boys of the band. We were always doing naughty things that we shouldn't be doing, playing tricks on people, all sorts of things that really we shouldn't really go into. In fact, when I talk to John about 4 or 5 times a year, about once every month. Yeah, about once every month we talk, and it always comes up. The subject always comes up of, do you remember when we did this to this, and we set fire to this, and yeah. So we still, even at our age now, we still reminisce of the silly things that we found.
Have you asked him when he's ever going to put out this? It's like the Guns N' Roses Chinese Democracy. We've been waiting like 7 years for this album.
Do you know, I've said to John, I've tried to, I've put him in touch with our record company, and I kind of get any sense out of him. I keep on telling him he really needs to get it out there. But John is John, and we'll do what he thinks is best. But I've tried on everybody's behalf.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it is interesting.
He's great. He's in a good place. He's all right. I love him a bit. I love him like a brother. He's whatever anybody else has had dealings with him or whatever's come up. I can't say anything other than the guy's tremendous.
That's good. Speaking of guitarists, it looks like Michael McChrystal just left the band as well after he playing on Ritual.
He did. He felt the time was right. He wanted to move more into production and stuff like that. He's had a good ride with the Tygers. He was an unknown, playing around the world with us. We've given him a bit of a name and a bit of a platform to jump off. And I think he's done really well. So the time was right for him, and we again have advertised, and we have a fantastic guitar player waiting in the wings, as they say, when all this bloody COVID stuff passes by. But it's not quite the right time for me to tell you his name, because we haven't announced him yet. But it's coming very shortly in the next few weeks.
Okay. So you do. I was going to ask you if you had already got a new guitarist replacement. So when you
we've already started writing songs with him. So good. Yeah.
Okay, so when you hopefully get back on tour in 2021, hopefully all the bands get back by spring of 2021 and everything like that, you will have a new guitarist and you'll go out and hopefully put out new material. Okay, good. Yeah, no, I don't want you to...
Absolutely.
Don't break press release. I'm just a journalist. You want to save it for the band and the fans. But I do have to ask this. I mean, I try not to ask artists the questions they've been asked ad nauseum, but I've always wondered ever since I first heard the name of the band. I know Tygers of Pantang are referenced in Michael Moorcock's books, but did you deliberately spell it different because of the UK glam stuff that, like, say, Slade and some of the other bands were doing, or what made you spell it differently?
To be different, to be quite honest with you. Originally, I think the TYGE, I think the E had a couple of accents above it as well.
Yeah, it did have some kind of thing.
But we dropped that, and we just went with the Y instead of the I for Tigers. Yeah,
right. And that's
so yeah. Just literally as simple as that, just to be different.
Yeah, before Motley Crue did their thing. I mean, it was like, for me, it had to be the UK glam stuff of the late 70s, like with Slade, every album. It's like, what the hell are they saying with these words? Oh, okay, I get it. Come on, feel the noise. Before Quiet Riot even covered it. Why are they spelling noise? Okay, and then I started looking at some of the other UK bands. But yeah, that's different. And you know what? You probably never could have predicted that, 40 years later, when you Google Tygers, Tygers, there's only one other band in the world that has that. So, so that makes
it's kind of worked, yes.
Yes, it definitely worked in your favor. It's it definitely, people when they hear Tygers, they're like Tygers. There's a million bands. Like you mentioned, bands named after animals. But then you hear the word Tygers with a Y, and you go, oh okay, that's Robb's band, and then okay, yeah, Hellbound, Don't Touch Me There, Euthanasia, and all that kind of stuff, and then it evokes that whole new wave of British heavy metal that we all love so much.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and you've been part of that scene for 4+ decades, and you have been the sole contributing member to Tygers of Pantang and played on every single album. So you definitely own everything about that. And you say now that you write with the drummer as well, and you don't write all the music, or?
Oh no! Yeah, we all write. We all write. It's very much a 5-way process.
Oh, collaboration. Okay.
Somebody, and I like that.
Okay.
I'm not in favor of single songwriters because you just get one view. Whereas obviously somebody has to come up with an idea for everybody else to work on. So most of the time, some of the time, part of the time, whatever expression you want to use, I've become a guitar player. I'll invent a guitar riff. I'll record it. I'll record the drums. I'll record the bass. I'll demo it, and then I send it out to everybody, or I play it to them at a rehearsal and say, "What do you think? Do you like this? Is this any good?" And if the consensus opinion is yes, we like it, then everybody takes it on, takes it home, and develops it further. And so my original idea, 9 times out of 10, if I played you my original idea and played you the finished track, they might not be, very similar, because people have taken it on and have written different things, and the band are really good at that. So you end up with a song that has 5 ideas on it, rather than just one idea. So you're getting 5 times the imagination and 5 times the quality, and so it works really well for us.
Oh, that's good. Now, back in the days when you were with Jess Cox and the band just formed, you were covering ZZ Top. You had riffs that sounded like Ted Nugent. You did the Love Potion #9 cover and everything like that. Was that just because you were young and vibrant and just wanted to just do something different? Because you guys still created a heavy thrash, not thrash, but heavy aggressive sound that would lead to that Bay Area thrash. Did you ever see that happening?
I didn't think we're... No, I didn't. No, not at all. We there was I guess, in the early days there was a little bit of punk still within the sound, which was maybe the speed of the songs. Listening back to Wildcat, it was heavy, and it was punky, and it was a lot of things really, and I'm extremely proud of it. It was a top 20 album. It did really, really well. And the journalists, a lot of journalists revere it as an iconic album, which I'm absolutely delighted about.
Yeah, definitely Martin Popoff. That's definitely one of his all-time favorites, and some of the other big ones, absolutely Mick Wall, and some of the other ones definitely, because it was unprecedented. Sure, Motorhead was doing their thing, and there was a lot of punk at that time with UK subs, and obviously Sex Pistols, and there was the crust movement that was leading into Discharge and all this stuff. So yeah, you were surrounded by that, and there was the demise of the great glam stuff with Slade and Sweet. God bless all the guys who have died recently, and that whole thing, David Bowie. So you did have come from such an amazing scene, but also the American influences of ZZ Top and Ted Nugent, and that kind. So that was just so great that you were able to coalesce that into those riffs that created a sound that would be heavily borrowed by Bay Area bands, especially the top 4, because I can, and do this off the record, but all bands, Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth, and Metallica, have heavily borrowed from Tygers of Pantang. And I think that's so cool. Blatantly...
I'm with you there. Yes, definitely.
Blatantly, like on Kill 'Em All, and Killing's My Business, and subtly on Fistful of Metal, and and quite possibly Show No Mercy, although that's a heavily Judas Priest. But I think that's just so great, and I think it's so great that you have been the significant member of that band. I think it's great now. Like I said, from Ambush on, I apologize when Ambush came out. There was so much other stuff coming out. I didn't give it the time or passion that it deserves. But in the last 4 days, I've been playing it, and the more even happenstance, I'd be playing it in the background, going, wow, this is really good. And that's why I wanted to play it today with lyrics from the internet so that I could really absorb it, go, oh my God, Rock and Roll Dream, and even the demo version of that, or oh my God, She, which is way better than the Kiss song, or opening track, Keep Me Alive. Just this is some great stuff. And I'm so glad that it is being remastered and being reissued for fans. I cannot wait until those re-recorded tracks come out. Those all look good. I like it. Some people don't like when bands go back and re-record music, and I can understand that. And a lot of people are adamant about the Diamond Head being done, the 40th anniversary. But sometimes artists need to do that because they've got, like you said, a solid lineup now. They've got the technology now, and they just didn't see those songs becoming what they are 40 years later. So I respect that.
Yeah, I know. I get both sides of the argument. I get that, oh, don't touch it. It's fine. It's iconic. And just leave it alone. And I get that. Well, we're 40 years on now. Let's just give it let's just give it a bit of a bum lift. Let's put a bit of lippy on it, a bit of lipstick on it, and we'll just make it presentable again.
Yeah, that's what Blitz from Overkill says. Why not just repaint the house, get a fresh coat of paint, maybe just redo a couple of things, touch up here, touch up there, and let's not forget so many iconic bands like Foreigner and Journey and Kansas. All are being out. Styx. They're all out there touring and doing their classics with the new vocalists.
Yeah,
and even though
course,
and even though the new vocalist of Yes sounds a lot like John. He's not John. Even though the vocalist of Styx sounds like Styx, he's not Styx. He's the vocal. You get the point. And they're not putting out re-recorded albums, but when you see them, they're always doing their classics. And I think Diamond Head's vocalist is amazing. He's a great guy. And when I see him live and he does the classics, it sounds awesome. And the same with your vocalist. Jack sounds amazing. Hearing him do just even like I said, Don't Touch Me there off the Japanese version of Ritual, this is good stuff. So you're right. There's two sides of the coin. I see both sides of the argument. But in all fairness, you got to support the bands for what they've been doing and the endurance that you put. This has been your life journey for 4 decades. So more power to that too.
Thank you. Yes, I agree.
So. Well, it's been an honor talking to you. A couple of days ago when I got the assignment, I was just like, oh my God, I don't know what to say. I'm so nervous. This guy created some iconic riffs that changed the whole, because I grew up with the thrash. So, but yeah, I would definitely go on the record and say Ambush is a solid album. Great songwriting, great lyrics, great vocals, great guitar riffs. I'm glad you're remastering it. Cruel Hands of Time, I'm glad it's made the cut this time. And hopefully more people will jump in and experience where you guys are, because the self-titled and Ritual kick ass too.
Thank you very much indeed.
You bet.
Just going back to your point of the Don't Touch Me There on the Japanese version, we wanted to get 2 or 3 of different guitar players playing guitar solos, and we managed to get Fred playing a guitar solo, who of course was a guitar player on the Cage.
Right.
And we asked Soren, who of course was mixing it for us in Copenhagen, whether he would play a guitar solo. So Mickey and I play one, and then I think it's Fred's, and then it's me, Fred, Mickey, and Soren. I think are the 4 different guitar solos, and I just think. It's a great song. It's 42 years old. We still play it to this day. Fans still ask for it. We still love it. It still sounds, it still has a bounce to it. And we just give it, we just give it a little tickle in the belly, right. just to give it a bit of a rise. And I think it's come out extremely well.
Absolutely. And even though it predates the song by the Tubes with the same title, it's completely different. It's just like you say. It's got that aggressive riff. So it set a precedent for the music that so many people would listen to. So we're grateful. And yeah, you guys continue to make good music, and I'm glad it's the same thing with Blitzkrieg and Satan and some of these other bands. Some of their new stuff is even better than their original stuff. Some people say that's blasphemous to touch that, but you know, some of these bands are still hammering out some very high quality material, and I think you guys are in that category as well.
Well, you have to move forward. What's the point in standing still?
Exactly.
If you're just a cabaret act, then yes, you don't write new material. You just play, what you've done however many years ago. But we're a touring band. We're still very operational, and of course, making records and making new albums, I view that very much as a staircase. And each time you make an album, you climb up another stair, because at the end of the day, you don't want to go back down the staircase, because that's you're not achieving anything. And you're always going up to the top of the staircase, but you never get to the top of the staircase, because let's face it, if you're on the top of the staircase, where do you go? So you should always be looking to for that next goal, and to better yourself, and to make stronger music, and gather more people, and that's kind of the journey, and that's what we try and do. And as the years have progressed on and the albums have come out, I really feel that is what the Tygers are achieving.
Wow, so well said, so eloquent, so poetic, and so absolutely true. With a hint of Escher's world, because you're right. You don't want to climb the stairway to heaven and then get to heaven, and then where do you go from there? A lot of artists are always saying,
Exactly.
a lot of artists saying, this is our best album. This is our best album. It's like, but what about the next one? What about the next one? So Ambush, I'm glad you guys are reissuing it. I'm glad you added bonus material. I think that's great. You can include the comic material on the back for people who buy the CD, and I guess the vinyl will be the same way. The artwork, the comic stuff will be on the back of the artwork for the vinyl.
Yep.
Right. That's kind of how Raven did it. That's exactly what Raven did. And there's just a booklet, but the comic book, that's so cool. That's, we need that. We need something physical, something tangible, something we can look at, something that's entertaining. We can't just have a bunch of music playing in the background. Like, that's fine if you're on the radio, but you can't, I don't know. I think that's an age thing. So I don't know. Anyway,
very much so. I can remember, buying early records, and putting the needle in the groove and put the headphones on, and studying the album cover. And God, if it was a double album, and a gatefold sleeve, there was all that information to take in. And because I was so engrossed in the artwork, and in and I was in heaven if it was a live shot, and I would check out all the guitars and the backline and stuff like that. I hadn't even heard the record. I had to start all over again.
Yep.
So,
when I bought
one of the good things and the bad things, of course, of today's modern society of downloads is when you buy a download, what do you actually buy?
Just the music.
But where is it? It's fresh. You're buying fresh air, aren't you?
Yeah.
You've got it. It's somewhere on a chip on your phone or something.
Yep.
You've got nothing. It's not like going to the shop and buying a 7-inch single, where you get the packaging and you get something where you could physically hold it, and you've got something for your money.
Yeah.
So I really try and encourage people to go out. And people say to me, they say, well, you've released Ambush on LP, which it's being released on a black vinyl and on an orange vinyl.
Ooh, orange vinyl, awesome.
Yeah, orange, obviously, Tiger Orange. It's a limited thing. I think there's only 1,000 copies being pressed up on orange.
Ooh,
and they say, well, I haven't got a record player anymore. And I say, guess what? I haven't either. But I'd still go out and buy it. Not to play it, just to keep it, because one day I might get a record player. But that's not what I'm getting at. The fact is that, okay, you've got it on CD, but if you want it maybe as a collector's piece, or in case you might get in a few months' time, a few years' time, I don't know, I might go out and buy a record player. It might just, the fancy might take me. I used to have one, and I used to have a huge record collection, but when everything, went digital and went small, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to go with the times, I suppose. And I remember listening to the first time I ever heard a CD, I hated it. I thought, I'm not going to buy any of those. They sound awful. I much prefer an LP. And then, you end up with bloody hundreds and hundreds of CDs because that's the way the world was going. So, yeah, I'm very much for something in your hand, that you can look at and physically own, rather than a piece of nothing, fresh air on a chip inside a phone or inside, I don't know. So that's a really old person's view.
No. I totally agree 100%. At least with Ambush, I will say that I did burn it on CDR, so it is playing in my boombox. So it's a little bit more than air. It's a little bit more material. I still have to go online to read the lyrics, and I don't have a booklet, but that'll change once I, now order it on Amazon, because now you told me how cool it's going to be. And then, of course, now I'm going to seek out the orange vinyl just because it's orange vinyl.
So, yes, you'll have to order it either from the record company, from Target Direct, or you'll be able to get it on Amazon.
Right. Well, I'd like to get it signed, but I'll probably just get it, for now.
Well, never say never. We're constantly talking about it's finding the right tour and the right deal to come across the States, because unbelievably, when a band comes to American shows, they have to pay, it's something like £1,800 per person.
Oh yeah, you get the visas, and it's a real hassle.
Artist tax. Yet when an American artist comes to our British shows, they pay nothing.
Oh wow, okay. I thought there was some kind of thing. Of course, with the COVID-19, we can't come into Europe right now. Have you guys ever toured the U.S., even back in the 80s?
No.
I didn't think so. You came to Canada. You came to Canada and South America, but you didn't come to the U.S. per se, right?
Yeah, no, we didn't. You're right.
Right. So that would be.
Yeah. So in fact, we need to. We really, really need to. And I know there's potentially there was a market. Whether it recovers next year or the year after or whatever, but you've got you see that the sideline to all this is a lot of people have lost their jobs, so of course that would normally go to a concert, and now that they're struggling just to put food in their mouth.
Even those of us who are unemployed, we will still find a way. We will sell some T-shirts. I have been selling old T-shirts. I've been selling CDs. But it would be great if you guys could get on some kind of package deal, come with some other great bands like Blitzkrieg or Satan or Raven, and come to the U.S. I just enjoy talking to you. This is just, what a great way to just, chat with such a musician who has done so much for the past 4 decades, plus has inspired so much of which people take for granted as far as a musical genre. And you probably never knew that was going to happen. I talked to some of these guys, the same with Brian from Blitzkrieg and Satan. I just never knew that was going to happen. It's so beautiful to see where we are now. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Lovely talking to you.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, I will definitely focus on all the good stuff. And thank you for taking your time to chat with me.
Not a problem at all. Anytime. Speak to you very soon.
You bet. Bye.
See you soon. Bye. Bye.